Welcome to Shadow Tale, where darkness tells its own terrifying stories. The call came in at exactly 2:17 a.m., a time dispatchers often dread, not because of superstition, but because something about that hour always felt wrong, like the world itself was holding its breath. When the line lit up, it wasn't unusual at first, just another incoming emergency call blinking red on the console. But the moment the dispatcher answered, everything changed in a way that would haunt her for the rest of her life. "911, what's your emergency?" she said, her voice steady, trained, calm, the kind of voice that reassures strangers in panic. But what came back through the line was not panic in the usual sense. It was something deeper, colder, fear stripped down to its bones. "He's inside the house," the girl whispered, her voice trembling, barely audible, like she was hiding, like every word risked giving her away. The dispatcher straightened in her chair, immediately alert, fingers hovering over the keyboard as she began logging the call. "Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. What's your address?" There was a pause, then the girl spoke again, slower this time, as if each word had to be carefully forced out. "I'm at 1124 Willow Creek Road. Please, you have to hurry. I can hear him downstairs." The dispatcher typed quickly, her screen pulling up the address, and something flickered across her expression, a hesitation so brief it almost didn't exist. But it was there, because that address, it was familiar, though she couldn't immediately place why. "Units are being dispatched now," she said, keeping her tone steady, professional. "Can you tell me where you are in the house?" "I'm in my room, closet. I locked the door, but I think he knows I'm here," the girl whispered, her breathing shaky, uneven, like she was trying not to cry. "Listen to me," the dispatcher said gently, leaning closer to the microphone as if that could somehow bridge the distance between them. "Stay as quiet as you can. Help is on the way. Do you know who this person is?" "No," the girl said quickly, almost too quickly. "I woke up and heard footsteps, and then I saw him." The dispatcher's fingers paused for just a moment. "You saw him?" "Yes," the girl whispered, her voice breaking. "He was standing at the end of the hallway, just watching. He didn't move, he just stood there, and then the lights went out." The dispatcher felt a chill crawl up her spine, though she couldn't explain why. "Can you describe him?" Another pause, longer this time, filled only by the faint sound of the girl's breathing. "I couldn't see his face. It was too dark. But I know he's still here," she said. "I can hear him walking. Slow, like he's looking for me." The dispatcher glanced at the screen again, at the address, and something clicked into place, a memory surfacing from somewhere deep in her mind, something she had seen before, something she had tried to forget. She quickly pulled up the property records, her heart beginning to beat a little faster as the file loaded. "Ma'am," she said carefully, "what's your name?" There was another pause, and when the girl answered, her voice sounded smaller somehow, like she was shrinking into herself. "Emily," she said. The dispatcher's breath caught. "Emily what?" she asked, though she already knew the answer before it came. "Emily Carter," the girl whispered. The dispatcher stared at the screen, at the file that had just opened, at the name printed clearly in black and white. Emily Carter, deceased. Date of death, 10 years ago, same address, 1124 Willow Creek Road. Her fingers went cold on the keyboard. "Emily," she said slowly, her voice no longer as steady as before. "Can you tell me how old you are?" "I'm 16, the girl replied immediately. The dispatcher closed her eyes for a brief second, trying to steady herself, trying to make sense of what she was hearing, because this wasn't possible. It couldn't be possible. Records didn't lie. And yet the voice on the other end of the line sounded real, terrified, alive. "Emily," she said again, forcing calm back into her tone. I need you to stay on the line with me, okay? Please don't hang up, the girl whispered. He's getting closer. The dispatcher swallowed hard. I'm not going anywhere, she said. You're not alone. In the background, faint but unmistakable, there was a sound. A creak. Slow, deliberate, like a floorboard shifting. Under weight. The dispatcher's heart began to pound. Emily, is that him? Yes, the girl breathed, her voice trembling. He's in the hallway. I can hear him. Oh God, he's coming up the stairs. The dispatcher quickly checked the unit status. Officers were en route, but still minutes away. Too many minutes. Emily, listen to me, she said urgently. Stay as quiet as you can. Do not make a sound. There was a soft rustling, like fabric shifting, like someone pressing themselves deeper into a hiding place. Then the footsteps became clearer. Thump, 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 slow, heavy, unmistakable. The dispatcher felt her pulse in her ears, each step echoing through the line, through her mind. He's outside my door, Emily whispered, her voice barely audible now, like even speaking was too dangerous. The dispatcher held her breath. There was silence, a long, suffocating silence. Then a sound that made her blood run cold, the doorknob rattling, slowly, deliberately. He knows I'm here, Emily said, her voice cracking. He knows. The dispatcher's eyes darted to the screen again, to the address, to the record, and something else caught her attention. This time, something she hadn't noticed before. Cause of death, homicide, details, victim found in bedroom closet. The dispatcher felt the room tilt slightly, her grip tightening on the edge of the desk. Emily, she said, her voice barely steady. I need you to listen to me very carefully. But before she could say anything else, the rattling stopped. The line went completely silent. No breathing, no movement, nothing. Emily? The dispatcher said, her voice rising slightly. Emily, are you there? For a moment there was no response. Then very softly the girl spoke again. He's inside, she whispered. The dispatcher's heart nearly stopped. How? She asked, her voice shaking, despite her training. I don't know, Emily said. The door didn't open. He's just here. A faint sound followed, something like a breath, but deeper, heavier, not Emily's. The dispatcher froze. Emily, she said slowly, what do you see? There was a pause. Then Emily's voice came back, different this time, strained, like she was forcing the words out through sheer terror. He's standing right in front of me. The dispatcher felt a chill spread through her entire body. Can you see his face? She asked. Another pause, longer this time. And when Emily spoke again, her voice was barely a whisper. No. But I think he can see me. The dispatcher's breath caught in her throat. Emily, stay with me, she said quickly. Officers are almost there. But even as she said it, she wasn't sure if that meant anything anymore, because something about this call was wrong, in a way she couldn't explain. Then suddenly, the line filled with a sound that made her flinch. A low, distorted noise, like something dragging across the microphone. Then Emily screamed, a raw, piercing scream that cut straight through. The dispatcher's headset, through her thoughts, through everything. No! The scream was cut off abruptly. The line went dead. The dispatcher sat frozen, staring at the screen, her ears ringing in the sudden silence. Emily, she said, her voice barely audible. No response, just the empty hum of a disconnected line. Her hands trembled as she quickly tried to reconnect, but the call was gone, vanished, as if it had never existed. Moments later, the radio crackled to life. Unit 12 on scene at 1124 Willow Creek Road, a voice said. House appears, abandoned. The dispatcher's heart skipped a beat. Abandoned, she repeated, her voice tight. Yeah, the officer replied. Place looks like it's been empty for years. No lights, no movement. Front doors locked. The dispatcher felt a cold weight settle in her chest. "Check inside," she said, her voice barely steady. Caller reported an intruder. There was a pause, then the sound of footsteps over the radio, a door being forced open. "Entering now," the officer said. The dispatcher held her breath. Seconds passed. Then a voice came through again. Quieter this time. "There's nothing here." The dispatcher shook her head, as if that could somehow change what she had heard. "Check the upstairs," she said. "Second floor, bedroom closet." Another pause, more footsteps, then silence. Long, heavy silence. "Unit 12, she said, her voice tight with tension. No response. "Unit 12, do you copy?" The radio crackled softly. Then finally the officer's voice returned, but it sounded different now. Uneasy. "There's a closet up here," he said slowly. "Doors locked from the outside." The dispatcher's breath caught. "Open it," she said. There was a moment of hesitation. Then the sound of the door being forced open, a loud crack. Then silence. Longer this time. Too long. "Unit 12, the dispatcher said, her voice barely holding together. When the officer finally spoke again, his voice was strained, almost disbelieving. "There's nothing inside," he said. The dispatcher's mind reeled. Nothing. That didn't make sense. None of this made sense. But then the officer spoke again. "There's just an old phone," he said, "sitting on the floor." The dispatcher's heart stopped. "Is it connected?" she asked. Another pause. Then the officer's voice came back, quieter than before. "No," he said. "It's disconnected." The dispatcher stared at her screen, at the empty call log, at the timestamp that still read 2:17 a.m. And then, without warning, her console lit up again. Incoming call, same number, same address. Her hand trembled as she slowly reached for the headset. She hesitated for just a second. Then she answered. "911, what's your emergency?" And the voice that came through was the same, soft, terrified, broken. "He's inside the house," Emily whispered.